found out my husband was a monster the day strangers started spitting on me in the supermarket. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me start with the name the world knows him by: Shark Binh, crypto influencer, meme coin legend, self-made genius, the man who made $900 million overnight and then disappeared with it. The man who got arrested on a sweaty, crowded street in Vietnam while trying to order an iced coffee like he was just another tourist. The man I used to call my husband. And this is my story, told by the woman who slept next to the rug puller and had no idea what he was doing to the world, or to us, not until it was too late. 1. Before he was Shark. My name is Lynn, and I married Binh long before anyone called him Shark. Back then, he was just a skinny boy with messy hair, an old laptop, and a laugh that shook his whole body. We met in a tiny internet cafe in Saigon, both of us sweating under ceiling fans that barely turned. I was studying accounting. He was studying the future, which, at that time, meant crypto. Bitcoin is going to change everything, he told me on our second date, his eyes glowing like he'd swallowed a neon sign. I smiled, stirred my iced coffee, and said, "I just hope it pays rent." He didn't have much then. No car, no property, no plan that would have impressed my parents. Just this wild belief that technology and code and risk could catapult him from the alley where he grew up to skyscrapers in Singapore and Dubai. "You watch," he said. "One day, people will pay to hear me talk. I'll change their lives." I thought he was dreaming. I didn't know he would change their lives by destroying them. For years, he was just hustling, freelance developer, building smart contracts for small projects, helping launch tokens that nobody outside of a Telegram group would ever hear about. We were broke, but he was happy. He was always happiest in front of screens, full of green and red candles. I used to fall asleep to the glow of charts on his laptop, the sounds of keyboards and YouTube crypto gurus echoing through our tiny apartment. We got married in a simple ceremony. My family, his family, plastic chairs, too much food, bad karaoke. I wore a rented dress. He wore a borrowed suit. We didn't have much. But we had each other. And at the time, that felt like enough. Then the bull market came, and everything changed. 2. The rise of Shark Binh. It started as a joke. Binh had been lurking in crypto Twitter circles, commenting under big accounts, answering newbie questions in random Discord servers. He'd built some reputation as that Vietnamese dev who actually knows what he's doing. He was funny online, blunt, savage sometimes. He'd call out obvious scams, laugh at people chasing pumps, post memes about diamond hands and paper hands. One day, he filmed a short video with his phone. No editing, no lights, just him sitting on the floor, talking straight to camera. "Stop buying garbage," he said. "You want to survive in crypto. Learn to read a contract. Learn to read a chart. Or accept that you're just casino food." He posted it on TikTok. Went to sleep. The next morning, his phone had exploded. Hundreds of thousands of views. Tens of thousands of likes. Comments from people all over the world. Finally, someone honest. "Bro just saved me." Followed. "More alpha, please, Shark. That's your name now," I teased. "Shark." He smirked. Shark Bin, he said, testing it out. Yeah, that sounds good. From there, it snowballed. He started posting daily videos, breaking down charts, explaining memes, reviewing tokens. He shouted when he was excited, cursed when he was angry, laughed when people did stupid things. People loved him for it. He went from 10,000 followers to 100,000, then 500,000. Then he started multi streaming TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, Twitter. Lives with thousands of people watching him in real time. Our lives changed. Fast. Brands reached out. Exchanges offered sponsorships. Some random NFT project sent him a car as a gift. We sold it and cleared our debts. I watched my husband transform from the nerd in the corner of an internet cafe into a man people screamed for in malls. Shark! Shark! One photo, please. He'd grin, throw up a peace sign, raise a phone, and yell, "Let's make it! Win together or die together." He began saying that a lot. Win together or die together. I didn't know he meant it literally. 3. The family that didn't know. When the money first came in, it felt like magic. We moved from our cramped apartment into a 2-story house in District 7. There was space for our son to run. Our daughter finally had her own room. We bought real furniture, not the flimsy stuff from the discount store. Solid wood, heavy, the kind you keep for generations. My parents, who had never quite trusted internet money, started to relax when he paid off their mortgage in one transfer. You see, he told my father, crypto not so bad, eh, ba? My father clapped him on the back and laughed. Just don't gamble it all away, he joked. Binh laughed too. But behind closed doors, I'd see the look in his eyes when a trade went against him. The tight jaw, the fingers drumming the table. I'm not gambling, he told me once, when I gently suggested he take a break. I'm building. To what? I asked. To a life where our kids never have to worry like we did. How could I argue with that? He worked constantly, filming, editing, live streaming, analyzing white papers, taking calls with people in Dubai, Singapore, New York. Sometimes I'd wake up at 3 in the morning and find him on a call, eyes red, voice hoarse. I worried about his health, the stress, the lack of sleep. But what I didn't worry about, what never even crossed my mind, was that he was planning something dark. I thought he was helping people. He talked about educating newcomers, teaching risk management, exposing scams. He made videos trashing obvious rug pulls and fake promises. So, when he said he wanted to launch his own token, I was proud. You know how many influencers launch trash coins? He told me. No utility, no code, no transparency. I'm going to show them how it's done. Real devs, real auditing, fair launch, no pre-sale, no insider allocations. He said all the right words. He even printed them. Shark Chain, built by the people, for the people. The irony still makes my stomach twist. 4. The birth of Shark Chain. I remember the night he finalized the name. We were sitting on the balcony, kids asleep, city lights blinking in the humid dark. He had his laptop open, code scrolling on one half, a Telegram chat exploding on the other. They want me to call it Shark Token, he said, or Shark Coin. So basic. What do you want to call it? I asked. He stared into the night. I don't want it to be just a coin, he said. I want it to be an ecosystem, a whole world, a chain. He grinned at me. Shark chain, he said. You like it? I smiled and tapped the edge of his laptop. As long as it's safe, I said. No gambling. He swore it wasn't. He showed me the white paper, pages of technical explanations, liquidity locking, anti-whale mechanisms, community governance. He showed me the wallet where he put our money, our savings, the college funds, the emergency stash. All in? I asked, my voice trembling. All in, he said. If I don't trust my own project, why should anyone else? Is that normal? I asked. He laughed. No, that's why people love me. The pre-launch hype was insane. He teased it for weeks, dropped cryptic hints on live streams, created countdown timers, did giveaways. Every night, our living room was lit up by multiple screens. Charts, chats, messages popping up so fast I couldn't read them. Shark, you saved my life. Shark, when token? Shark, I'm going all in. I trust you with my kids' future. Those last ones made me nervous. Don't tell them that, I said. Crypto is risky. I do, he replied. I always say it. Only invest what you can afford to lose. They don't listen, but that's not my fault. He said it casually. I wish I'd heard the warning in that tone. Launch day came on a Friday. He rented a small studio, hired a production team, set up a full live show. Lights, graphics, a giant countdown timer on the wall behind him. Babe, he said, adjusting his shark cap in the mirror. This is it. Our lives are going to change today. I like our life now, I said softly. He kissed my forehead, already half somewhere else. On stream, he was electric. Welcome, sharks, he yelled, his voice booming over techno music. Today, we make history. Today, we build something that's not controlled by Wall Street, not controlled by the banks, not controlled by politicians. This is ours. The chat exploded. Let's go! I trust you with my life, Shark. He did a full walkthrough of the contract, the tokenomics, the roadmap. He talked about staking, NFTs, play to earn. He made it sound like a future none of us could afford to miss. Then he pressed deploy. In less than 20 minutes, the market cap shot past $500 million. Within an hour, it was over $900 million. The sound of my husband's name was everywhere. Twitter trending, TikTok FYP, crypto YouTube thumbnails screaming, Shark Chain. Moons to $900 million in 1 hour. Is this the next Doge? He ended the stream flushed, sweaty, light dancing in his eyes. Did you see that? He gasped. Did you see that, Lynn? We did it. We did it. He hugged me so tight I could barely breathe. Our phones were buzzing nonstop. Friends, strangers, old classmates, distant cousins. My husband, I typed proudly in a group chat, just launched a token that hit $900 million market cap in an hour. People responded with fire emojis, shocked faces, clapping hands. Nobody, including me, asked the one question that mattered. Where was the exit? 5. The night of the rug. For 2 days, Shark Chain was a dream. Charts going up, people posting screenshots of their wallets, Strangers making TikToks about how they finally made it. Number sign. Shark Chain was trending across Twitter, Instagram, even Facebook, where aunties who barely knew what crypto was were asking how to buy. Binh barely slept. He was on live stream almost constantly, eyes bloodshot, hair a mess, but smiling like a god. "This is just the beginning," he repeated. "This is phase 1. Imagine in a year, 5 years. This is generational wealth." He kept saying that too. Generational wealth. My inner accountant flinched, but the numbers on the screen kept quieting my doubts. Our own wallets had grown. Fast. Millions. Then tens of millions. On paper, we were suddenly worth more than all the people we'd ever known combined. He opened a bottle of champagne he'd been saving for when we hit something big. The bubbles spilled onto the kitchen tiles. Our kids clinked their glasses of orange juice. "To Shark Chain!" he toasted. I hesitated, then lifted my glass. "To Shark Chain!" I echoed, smiling. That night, I woke up around 3 a.m. The bed next to me was empty. I padded out to the living room in my slippers, rubbing my eyes. Binh was sitting on the couch in the glow of the TV, charts flashing red and green across the big screen, laptop open on his knees. The room felt different, thicker. I watched his face. It wasn't joy or even stress. It was something else, something calculation and cold. "Couldn't sleep?" I asked softly. He jumped, then forced a smile. "Hey," he said. "Yeah, just watching the charts." I moved closer, fingers brushing his shoulder. "They look good?" I asked. "Yeah," he said, eyes flickering back to the screen. "Volume's insane. Liquidity is deep. We're good." Then I noticed another screen. On the coffee table, a small hardware wallet, plugged in. I tilted my head. "What are you doing?" I asked. "Why are you moving funds?" His jaw tightened for a fraction of a second. "Rebalancing," he said lightly. "You know, for the protocol. It's normal." He had explained liquidity pools to me before, how the token was paired with stablecoins, how it stabilized the price, how rug pulls happened when people removed liquidity suddenly and left buyers with worthless assets. "You said you locked liquidity," I whispered. He paused. "I did," he said slowly. "Mostly. This is operational." Operational. I didn't like the sound of that word. Our daughter cried out from her room then, a small, scared sound. I moved to go to her. "Lynn," he said quickly, before I turned away. "Whatever happens, remember, I did this for us, okay?" I frowned. "What do you mean, whatever happens?" He forced a laugh. "Nothing," he said. "Go back to bed. I'll be in soon. I wish I'd stayed. I wish I'd watched his screen." But motherhood pulled me away. I went to soothe nightmares, not knowing a much bigger nightmare was about to begin. By the time I woke again, it was 8 a.m. My phone was buzzing so hard it had fallen off the bedside table. I grabbed it, still half asleep. Hundreds of messages. My best friend. My cousin. Unknown numbers. "Lynn, what's happening? Is this FUD? Tell me it's FUD. Your husband just ruined my life." I bolted upright. My heart pounded as I opened Twitter. The first thing I saw was a chart. Shark chain, 24-hour price. A straight vertical line, but this time down. From 80 cents to 0.0, $3. My throat closed. I stumbled out to the living room. Bin was gone. The big TV was on, sound muted, showing a screenshot of our tokens chart and a caption. Biggest rug pull of the year? Shark chain. Crashes from $900 million to 0 overnight. I couldn't breathe. I opened our wallet on my phone. The numbers had changed. Our shark chain was still there. Only now, it was worth less than the price of the phone in my hand. But the stable coins, the other side of the pool, the actual money people had put in, gone. 6. The call. He called me 30 minutes later. I was sitting on the floor, our kids in their pajamas, my phone buzzing like it was possessed, my head spinning. "Lynn," he said, "listen to me." "Where are you?" I choked out. "That doesn't matter right now," he replied. His voice was too calm, too steady. It scared me more than if he'd been screaming. "Lynn, you need to stay off social media. Don't answer calls from random numbers. Don't talk to anyone." "What did you do?" I whispered. Silence. The kind of silence that sucks the oxygen out of a room. "I did what I had to do," he finally said. "They were going to dump it anyway. You saw the volume. Whales were circling. If they dumped first, we'd be left holding nothing. This way, at least." "This way? What?" I snapped. Something inside me suddenly boiling. "At least who gets saved?" "You? At least you get to run away with everyone's money?" He hesitated. "I secured enough for us," he said. "For the kids. For the future." My hand shook. "How much?" I asked. He was quiet again. "How much did you take, Bin?" Finally, he said it. "About 900 million." He said it like a weather report. A number so big my brain couldn't even process it. "People trusted you," I whispered. "They believed you. They wrote you messages about their kids, their rent, their life savings. I saw them. You told them we would win together or die together." "And we did," he replied. "They took a risk, just like me. I didn't hold a gun to anyone's head." "You held your influence," I shot back. "You held their hope." A loud thud sounded on the other end of the line, like a suitcase slamming shut. "Listen to me carefully," he said. "This will blow over. In crypto, it always does. They'll cry, they'll make memes, then they'll move on to the next coin. But regulators, police, Interpol, they're the real problem. You need to say you didn't know anything, because you didn't. That's the truth. You didn't know. He was right. I didn't know. And that realization hurt more than anything." "Where are you going?" I asked. He exhaled. Long, tired. "I have to leave the country," he said, "just for a while. Vietnam is too hot right now. I have friends in Thailand, maybe Singapore. I'll figure it out. I'll send you money. We'll be okay." "We?" I repeated. "We?" He hesitated. "I did this for us, Lynn," he said. "For the family. For our kids. Don't turn on me now." A part of me wanted to scream. Another part knew that whatever I said, he had already made his choice. "Don't post anything," he repeated. "Don't admit anything. Don't meet with anyone. Don't go on any live streams. Delete any messages that look dangerous. You understand? I closed my eyes. I understand one thing, I said quietly. The man I married isn't the man speaking to me right now. Lynn, I hung up. He tried calling back. I turned my phone off. 7. The world turns. When I turned my phone on an hour later, the internet had turned into a battlefield. Videos of people crying, men punching walls, women pacing small apartments, begging Shark to just explain what happened. One guy smashed his computer on TikTok and screamed, "My kid's college fund is gone! Shark, you bastard! I trusted you." Hashtags flooded my screen. Hashtag shark chain rug. Hashtag arrest. Shark bin. Hashtag crypto criminal. News outlets picked it up. First, the small crypto blogs, then mainstream Vietnamese outlets, then international media. Vietnamese crypto influencer suspected in $900 million. Rug pull. Authorities look into massive exit scam tied to online personality, Shark Bin. They dug up our lives, his old videos, his old tweets, our wedding photos from my private Facebook, pictures of our children with their faces blurred. Journalists started calling, emailing, DMing. Did you know about your husband's plan? Is he in hiding? Do you benefit from the stolen funds? Someone on Twitter posted a blurry photo of a woman who vaguely looked like me at a mall. The caption said, "Spotted Shark's wife buying designer bags with your money." It wasn't me, but that didn't matter. In a rage, people don't care about truth. They care about targets. I became one. The first time it hit me physically was at the supermarket. I just wanted milk. Our daughter needed cereal. Our son wanted yogurt. I thought, stupidly, that if I wore a mask and a hat, nobody would recognize me. I was wrong. A man in his 30s, eyes bloodshot, cart half empty, stopped in front of me, blocking my way. He stared. Then he said, too loudly, "Are you Shark's wife?" Every muscle in my body froze. I didn't answer. He stepped closer. "I lost my house because of him," he hissed. "My house? You know what that means? My wife left? Took our kid? You sleeping well in your big villa?" His spit hit my cheek. I flinched, wiped it away with shaking fingers. I didn't know," I tried to say. But he had already turned away, laughing bitterly. "Of course you knew," he shouted over his shoulder. "You all know. You're all the same." People were staring, some whispering, some filming. I abandoned the cart and walked out of the store, heart pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. Outside, the heat hit me like a wall, but I was cold, bone cold. This wasn't just online. This was real. 8. The investigation. Things moved quickly after that, too quickly. One day, there was just noise, memes, threats, angry videos. The next, there were suits on our doorstep, real ones, government ones. 2 men and a woman, calm, polite, but with eyes like knives. "Mrs. Nguyen Lin?" the woman asked, showing me a badge. "We need to ask you some questions about your husband, Bin, also known as Shark Bin. May we come in?" I wanted to say no, but the law doesn't really ask. It just phrases commands like questions. They sat at our dining table, flipping through folders stuffed with printouts, chain analysis, transaction histories, screenshots of wallet addresses. Did you know your husband controlled these wallets? The woman asked, sliding a paper toward me. Long strings of letters and numbers. To me, they might as well have been alien language. I I don't know, I said. He showed me an app once where I could see numbers. I didn't understand much. Did he tell you about his plans for the liquidity pool? Another man asked. Did he discuss moving funds with you ahead of time? I shook my head, exhausted. No, I said. He told me. He told me it was safe. Locked, audited. I believed him. My voice broke. The woman studied me for a moment, then softened just a fraction. You have 2 children? She asked. Yes. Where is your husband now? I swallowed. I don't know. It wasn't entirely true. I had a guess. But a guess isn't the same as an address. They spoke about Interpol, about international warrants, about cross-border financial crime. Words like money laundering, fraud, conspiracy. I sat there while they listed possible charges against my husband, the man who used to cry at Disney movies and make heart-shaped pancakes for the kids. Their words painted him as a monster. And the worst part was, they weren't wrong. We will need access to any devices he may have used, the woman said. Computers, phones, hardware wallets. She paused. And for your own protection, you should get a lawyer. For what? I whispered, panicking. I didn't do anything. You share accounts, she said. You share a home. You benefited from his income. We need to make sure you are not implicated in any way. A good lawyer can help with that. The word implicated made my stomach twist. After they left, I sat at the table long after their car pulled away, staring at the squares of sunlight on the wood. There was a hardware wallet in his desk drawer, another hidden behind a stack of manga in our son's room. I found them with shaking hands, black, smooth, innocent-looking, like tiny coffins. I knew I should call the investigator, hand them over. But part of me thought of the kids, their future, school fees, food. How much, I whispered to the devices, does doing the right thing cost? 9. The family fallout. His parents called that night. His mother was crying so loudly I could barely make out the words. What did you let him do? She sobbed. What did you let my son become? I bit my lip hard enough to taste blood. I didn't let him do anything, I said quietly. He made his own choices. You're his wife, she snapped. You should have stopped him. As if I had that kind of power, as if anyone did, once the greed sunk its teeth in. My own parents were quieter, more disappointed than angry. We warned you about crypto, my father said. We warned you about fast money. This isn't about crypto, I said. This is about him. About what he did. Crypto made it easy, my father replied. It makes it easy to think money isn't real. Just numbers on a screen. But those people who lost everything, their pain is real, Lynn. I knew that too well. Messages still flooded my phone, some begging, some threatening. One woman sent a photo of her 2 small children sleeping on a mattress on the floor of a bare room. She wrote, We had a small apartment. My husband convinced me to put our savings in your husband's coin. When it crashed, he couldn't handle it. He left. Now it's just me and them. Ask Shark if this is the future he promised. I stared at that picture for a long time. My kids were still in their comfortable rooms, their bellies still full, their father gone, but by choice. Those other kids, their father was gone too, but for a different reason: shame. I began to understand the scale of it. This wasn't about charts and wallets. It was about lives, thousands of them. 10, the ghost calls. He called again from a different number. Stop turning off your phone, he snapped when I answered. You're making it worse. Worse for who? I asked. For all of us, he said. For the narrative. If you disappear, they'll assume you're in on it. In on what? I said, voice rising. The theft? The lies? The whole win together or die together scam? You're emotional, he said. I get it. But you need to calm down and think strategically. He had started talking like one of those slick Western influencers he admired. Everything was narrative, strategy, optics. What's the strategy now? I asked coldly. You run away with almost $1 billion while thousands of people suffer. You send us money from some beach. We pretend to be sad while secretly rich. He sighed. You don't understand how these cycles work, he said. They'll move on. The market always finds a new villain, a new hero. I just need time until something dumber happens. Dumber than this? I laughed bitterly. You're wanted by multiple countries. At that, he said nothing. I realized then that he'd been tracking the news more closely than I had. So what's the plan? I continued. You hide in Thailand, Dubai, some island, live like a king on money that doesn't belong to you. What about your kids? What do I tell them? Tell them I did it for them, he said. I closed my eyes. Don't ever say that, I whispered. Don't you dare put this on them. Silence. Then, softer. I'm in Ho Chi Minh. For now. But not for long. There's heat at the airport. They froze some accounts. I have backups, offshore wallets, cold storage. I'm not stupid. Could have fooled me, I muttered. Lynn, he said, listen to me. I need you to pack some things. For you and the kids. Travel light. We might need to leave. No, I said. The word surprised us both. What do you mean, no? He snapped. This isn't optional. I'm not running, I said. I didn't do anything wrong. The children didn't do anything wrong. We're not leaving our home because you committed a crime. You think the government cares about nuance? He hissed. They see family. They see shared assets. They see accomplice. Then you should have thought of that before you pulled the plug. I shot back. His breathing grew loud. You're my wife, he said slowly. Your loyalty is to me. No, I replied, feeling my spine straighten. My loyalty is to my children, to myself, and to the woman in that photo whose kids are sleeping on the floor because of you. What photo? I hung up. He tried calling again. This time, I blocked the number. 11. The decision. The next morning, I stared at the 2 black hardware wallets on the table. If I plug them in, if I entered the right passwords, which I didn't have, they could show me life-changing amounts of money. If I gave them to the authorities, I might be giving away my children's financial future. Or I might be giving back what never belonged to us in the first place. In the end, it wasn't philosophy that decided it. It was my son. He walked into the kitchen in his Spider-Man pajamas, rubbing his eyes. "Mommy," he mumbled, "are we rich or poor?" I choked on a laugh. "Why are you asking that?" I said. He shrugged, small shoulders lifting. "In school, kids say we're rich because Papa is shark," he replied. "But now they say Papa is thief." Are we still rich if the money is bad? Out of the mouths of children. I knelt in front of him, my throat aching. We're I paused. "We're honest," I said finally. "Whatever we decide, we stay honest. That's more important than rich or poor." He frowned. "Honest is like not lying?" he asked. "Yes." "What about Papa?" I swallowed. "Papa," I said slowly, "is lost right now. He forgot what honest means." My son thought for a moment. "Can he find it again?" he asked. I didn't know, but I knew this. He wouldn't find it if I helped him hide. That afternoon, I called the investigator. "I found some hardware wallets," I said. "I don't know what's on them, but they're my husband's, and I don't want them in my house anymore." 12. The Hunt. After I handed over the wallets, everything accelerated. Blockchain analysis teams traced the movements of the stolen liquidity through mixers, sidechains, obscure exchanges. It turned into a digital cat and mouse game across ledgers and addresses. "He's clever," the woman from before said, scanning the data. He split funds into hundreds of smaller wallets, bounced them around, used privacy coins, decentralized protocols. "Can you catch him?" I asked. "We don't need to catch every coin," she replied. "We just need enough. And him." Interpol issued a red notice. His face appeared on websites for wanted financial criminals. Crypto news channels turned into detective shows, analyzing his moves. "You can see here," one commentator said on YouTube, "how the stolen funds left the Shark Chain liquidity pool and entered this address, which we now know belonged to Shark himself. From there, he spread it into multiple wallets, some of which have already been seized." Another video showed a grainy clip of a man in a cap at Tan Son Nhat Airport. The caption read, "Is this Shark Binh trying to flee Vietnam?" He didn't. Not that time. Maybe the airport really was too hot. Rumors swirled. He was in Thailand. He was in Cambodia. He was in Singapore. He was hiding north near the border. He was on a boat. He was dead. He was alive and laughing. I stopped reading after a while. My world shrank from global drama to small battles, getting the kids to school, answering calls from lawyers, meeting with investigators, avoiding cameras, trying to sleep, failing. 13. The arrest in Vietnam. I found out he'd been arrested from a news notification, not a phone call. Crypto influencer Shark Binh, arrested in Ho Chi Minh City. After months on the run. My hand went numb. I opened the article. There he was. Grainy, shaky phone footage from someone's balcony. A street near Bui Vien, the backpacker area. Binh in a black t-shirt, cap pulled low, sunglasses on, walking with a plastic cup of iced coffee. For a moment, he looked like any other man. Then, three plainclothes officers appeared beside him. One tapped his arm, another showed a badge. The third took the coffee from his hand. He tried to walk away. They closed in. He struggled. They held him. Someone started filming from up close. "Is that Shark?" a voice said in Vietnamese. "Shark! Shark! Where's our money, Shark?" Another voice shouted, "Give it back, you dog!" The video ended with him being pushed into a plane car, his cap falling off, revealing his face clearly for the world to see. The comment sections exploded. Finally! Justice. Rot in prison, scammer. I stared at the screen. I didn't feel triumph. I didn't feel relief. I felt empty. This was the man I'd met in an internet cafe. The one who'd walked me home in the rain. The one who'd cooked me instant noodles at 2 a.m. when we were too broke for anything else. Now, he was Shark, being shoved into a car while the people who once worshipped him shouted for his blood. The phone rang. It was the investigator. "We've detained your husband," she said. "He's being questioned. You may be called to testify. Are you prepared for that?" Prepared. Number. Ready. Also number. But willing? I didn't know. 14. The visit. They allowed me one visit before the real legal process began. "Think carefully," my lawyer warned. "You don't owe him anything. You don't have to see him if you don't want to." I thought of my children, my son asking if his father could find honest again. My daughter sleeping with her shark plush toy tucked under her arm, not understanding why we'd taken his posters off the wall. "I need to look him in the eyes," I said, "at least once." The detention center was gray walls, gray sky, gray faces. They led me to a small room with a metal table and two chairs, separated by a glass wall with a small opening at the bottom. I sat down, hands folded, heart galloping. After a few minutes, a guard brought him in. No cap, no designer clothes, just a simple prison shirt and pants. For the first time in months, he looked small. His hair had grown out. His usually smooth face was rough with stubble. But his eyes, those sharp, calculating eyes, were the same. "Lynn," he breathed, sitting down. "Thank God. I wasn't sure you'd come." I looked at him. I saw two men, the boy I loved and the stranger who stole from the world. "Why did you?" I asked softly. His smile faltered. "Because you're my wife," he said. "Regardless of what they say, that hasn't changed." "Husband is not just a title," I replied. "It's actions. Choices." He leaned closer. "You have to help me," he said in a low voice. "They're trying to pin everything on me. Money laundering, fraud, organized crime. They're exaggerating. This is political. They want to make an example out of me." "You took $900 million, I said. "That's not an example. That's a fact." His jaw clenched. "It wasn't all profit," he retorted. "You think I'm sitting on $900 million? Fees, slippage, dumping? You wouldn't understand." "Do you hear yourself?" I whispered. "Do you understand what you sound like right now? People are homeless, families are broken, and you're talking about slippage." He flinched. "They knew the risks," he insisted. Every token can go to zero. I didn't promise returns. I was providing an opportunity. I stared at him in disbelief. Do you even regret it? I asked. His eyes flickered. For a moment, I saw something crack. Not guilt exactly, but fear. I regret getting caught, he said finally. I exhaled sharply. There it is, I said. The truth. He glared at me. You think you're better than me now? He spat. Because you handed over the wallets like a good little citizen? You think they'll thank you? You think they care? To them, you're just the scammer's wife. I know what I am, I said calmly. I also know what I'm not. I'm not your accomplice. His lips curled. You enjoyed the lifestyle, he said. The house. The car. Your parents' mortgage paid off. Don't pretend you didn't. We're in this together whether you like it or not. No, I replied. We were in it together when we were poor, eating noodles in a tiny apartment. We were in it together when you were building something honest. You left together behind. The moment you decided to save yourself and drown everyone else. He fell silent for the first time. He looked shaken. Lynn, he said quietly after a moment, they're going to ask you to testify. About Shark Chain, about me, about what I said, what I did. I know, I said. I need you to protect me, he pleaded. For the kids. They can't grow up with a father in prison. You know what that will do to them. You did this, I said, my voice trembling. You. Not the market. Not the haters. Not the government. You. He gripped the edge of the table, knuckles white. If you love me? I do, I said. His eyes widened, hopeful. Then, I love the man I thought you were, I continued. The man who wanted to build something real. The man who cried when our son was born. The man who worked himself sick so we could have a better life. I don't know this man, I gestured at him. This man is a stranger. His face hardened. So you'll turn on me, he said. I'll tell the truth, I replied. Whatever that does to you is no longer my concern. The guard knocked on the door. Time, he said. Binh stood up. For a moment, he looked almost like my husband again. Lost, vulnerable, scared. Tell the kids I love them, he said softly. I will, I replied. Tell them. He trailed off. What? I asked. He swallowed. Tell them I tried, he whispered. I watched him walk away. I didn't know if tried was the right word. He tried to get rich. He tried to escape. He hadn't tried to do the right thing, not when it mattered most. 15. The trial. They didn't allow cameras into the courtroom, but the world didn't need footage. They had imagination. Every seat in the public gallery was filled on the first day. Journalists, victims, curious onlookers. I sat in the front row, next to my lawyer, a knot of nausea sitting in my stomach. He was brought in wearing a simple white shirt and trousers. No cuffs, just two guards at his side. He glanced at me once, just once. The prosecution laid out their case. Screens displayed transaction graphs, timelines, screenshots of his live streams. They played clips of him shouting, "Win together or die together." They showed the line where the chart went straight down, They called experts who explained liquidity, smart contracts, rug pulls. They called victims, a young man who'd sold his motorbike to go all in, a middle aged woman who had put her retirement savings into Shark Chain after her son sent her his videos, a construction worker who'd convinced his entire crew to invest. They cried on the stand. Some shouted, some glared at Bin as he stared ahead, jaw clenched. Then it was my turn. My lawyer squeezed my hand as I stood. "You just tell the truth," he whispered. "Nothing more, nothing less." My legs felt like water. I took the stand, looked out at the sea of eyes, and tried not to think about how many people watching me had lost everything, or how many wanted to see me burn with him. "State your name," the judge said. "Guyen Lin," I replied, my voice surprisingly steady. They asked me about our marriage, our early days, his work, his obsession with crypto. They showed stills of my face in his old vlogs, smiling in the background as he shouted into the camera. "Did your husband discuss the Shark Chain token with you before launch?" the prosecutor asked. "Yes," I said. "He told me he wanted to create something different. Something honest." He showed me the white paper, the contract. He told me the liquidity would be locked, that he wanted to protect people. "What did you believe at the time?" he asked. "I believed him," I said. "Did you invest any of your family funds into Shark Chain?" "Yes," I said softly. "All of it." Some people in the gallery gasped. "So you too became a victim of this rug pull?" the prosecutor asked. I paused. "I lost money," I said, "but I still had my home, my family. Many of them lost everything. I don't feel comfortable calling myself a victim in the same way." He nodded. "Tell us about the night before the crash," he said. I described waking up, seeing him on the couch, the hardware wallet, the strange tension. "What did he say to you?" the prosecutor asked. "He told me, 'Whatever happens, remember, I did this for us,'" I replied. "And after the crash?" "He called me," I said, "told me to stay quiet, to say nothing, to not answer calls." He admitted to taking about $900 million worth of liquidity. The prosecutor turned to the judge. "No further questions." Bin's lawyer approached, cold eyes, cool voice. "Mrs. Nguyen," he said, "you benefited from your husband's wealth, did you not? The house, the cars, your parents' mortgage. Did you ever question where that money came from?" "Yes," I said. "I asked constantly if it was safe, if it was legal. He told me he was receiving sponsorships, ad revenue, consulting fees. Everything sounded legitimate. I had no reason to believe he was stealing." "No reason?" he asked. "Or no desire?" My spine stiffened. "I'm an accountant," I said. "I understand money. I also understand trust. I trusted my husband." "You took no steps to verify his claims?" he pressed. "What steps could I take?" I countered. "Ask YouTube for his analytics? Force his sponsors to send me contracts?" I saw invoices. I saw payments from exchanges, from legitimate companies. I saw him working constantly. "So you say you knew nothing about his intent to pull the liquidity?" he asked. "Correct," I said. He leaned in. "And yet, you turned over his hardware wallets to the authorities," he said. "Why?" "Because once I knew what he'd done, keeping them felt wrong," I replied. "I didn't want stolen money in my house or in my children's future." Many eyes on me softened. some full of tears. When I stepped down, I exhaled like I hadn't breathed in hours. The trial lasted weeks. Experts, victims, regulators. Even some of his old developer colleagues testified against him, detailing how they'd raised concerns about certain functions in the contract. Functions that allowed the owner, him, to drain liquidity at will. He had ignored them or overruled them. His defense tried everything: the volatility of crypto, the assumption of risk, the joke culture of meme coins. None of it could erase the blockchain. The numbers didn't lie. He had moved the funds. He had decided when to pull. He had chosen not to return any of it. In the end, the judge's verdict was clear. Guilty. Multiple counts of fraud, embezzlement, money laundering. He was sentenced to a long prison term. The courtroom buzzed. Some people cried tears of relief, others of unresolved fury. He stood there, face pale, eyes hollow. For a second, his gaze found mine. I didn't look away. I let him see the woman he'd lost standing beside the people he'd betrayed. 16. After the shark. Life after public scandal is quiet in a way you can't explain until you've lived through noise that big. Our house felt strange, without his voice echoing through rooms, without charts on screens, without endless notifications. We sold the cars, downsized our life. Not because the government forced us. They seized what they could tie directly to stolen funds, but some assets came from earlier, legitimate income. I sold them anyway, on purpose. Having those luxuries felt like wearing blood jewelry. I went back to work, not in some fancy firm, but doing bookkeeping for small local businesses. The kind of honest work that builds slowly and pays modestly, but lets you sleep at night. Sometimes, someone would recognize me. They'd hesitate between anger and pity. Most of the time, they chose awkward kindness. "Are you okay?" a shop owner asked once, handing me a stack of invoices. "I saw you on the news." "I've been worse," I said. "I'm trying to be better." My kids grew. They stopped asking about him every day. Questions came in bursts. Is Papa in bad people jail or just jail? Did he steal because he was scared we'd be poor? If he says sorry, can he come home? I answered as gently and honestly as I could. Papa did bad things, I would say. He's in jail because of those choices. Some jail is for people who made mistakes. Some is for people who didn't care who they hurt. I'm not sure which kind Papa is yet. They'd think about that. Sometimes they'd cry. Sometimes they'd shrug and go back to their games. Sometimes they'd say something that cut me open, like, "I don't want to be rich if it makes me mean." I'd hug them and promise we'd try to be good instead of rich. Online, Shark's legacy mutated. Some still worshipped him. Legend, they'd comment under old clips. Did what we all wish we could. Others loathed him. Burn in hell, they'd write. A few used him as a cautionary tale, warning new investors. If it looks too good to be true, remember Shark Chain. Slowly, his name slid down the trending lists. New scandals rose. New influencers fell. The cycle moved on. But for the people who lost everything, for the families broken, the story didn't move on. It just moved into their daily lives, into mine. 17 writing this for you. So, why am I telling you all this? Why am I sitting at my kitchen table? Kids asleep in the next room. The hum of the fridge, the only sound pouring my life out to a camera. Because you're here, watching. Because somewhere, on your phone or laptop, you're seeing another shark. He's fun. Or she's charming. They're telling you they've cracked the code. They're showing you screenshots of insane gains. They're saying the same words: community, together, generational wealth, trust me. And maybe, just maybe, you're considering taking what little security you have and throwing it into their dream. I'm not here to tell you what to do with your money. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just the woman who watched it from inside the house. I'm the one who heard win together or die together and thought it was a joke, not a prophecy. I'm the one who had to hold her child while he asked if they were still rich, if the money is bad. I'm the one who walked past strangers in the supermarket who spit at me for something I didn't do, but lived off. So here's what I want you to know. Influence is a weapon. It can be used to educate or to manipulate. Most influencers use it for a mix of both, whether they admit it or not. Smart contracts don't make smart people. Code can be perfect, audited, elegant. But if the person holding the keys is broken, everything built on it will break too. If someone tells you they're the only honest one in a corrupt world, be careful. Sometimes that's the biggest red flag, masquerading as virtue. Fast money hides slow damage. You might see green candles and think life has changed. But somewhere, a hole is forming in trust, in law, in your own ability to see clearly. And maybe, most importantly, victims aren't always just naive strangers. Sometimes they're the wife, the kids, the parents, the people who trusted the person behind the persona more than the charts. You want drama? You're watching it. You want wild love? Here it is. A woman who loved a man so much, she followed him from nothing into everything, and now loves herself and her children enough to walk away from all of it. 18. The real rug pull. People say rug pull like it's just a chart pattern. One moment the floor is under your feet. The next, it's gone. You fall. But here's what I learned. The real rug pull isn't crypto. It's not the money. It's not the sudden drop in your wallet balance. The real rug pull is when you realize the person you trusted with your savings, your future, your heart has been slowly cutting the threads beneath you for a long time. You just never looked down. I didn't lose $900 million. I never had it. The market never really gave it to us. It was just numbers. What I did have, and what I almost lost, was the ability to look my children in the eye and say, "We are not thieves. We chose honesty, even when it hurt. We gave back what never belonged to us." My husband is sitting in a cell right now. Maybe he's replaying the trades in his head. Maybe he's still telling himself stories about risk and reward and how everyone knew what they were signing up for. Maybe, late at night, when the noise dies down, he finally feels something like regret. I don't know. I can't control his story anymore. I can only tell you mine. And if my story can pull you back from the edge of some promoter's cliff, then maybe some good can come from all this ruin. 19. If you're still here. If you're still watching this, listening to my voice, sitting with me in this quiet kitchen while the world scrolls past, thank you. I know attention is a currency now. I know you could be watching 100 other things. Flashy Lambos, moon charts, someone screaming, "We're all gonna make it," in your face. Instead, you chose this. A mother, a wife, a woman rebuilding from the ashes of her husband's choices. If my story resonated with you, if you saw something of yourself in the victims, if you saw something of someone you know in my husband, then I have one last request. Not for me, for you. 20. A different kind of call to action. Every video on the internet ends with the same thing. Like, comment, subscribe. Smash that like button. Hit the bell. I'm not going to tell you that will change your life. It won't. But if you want more stories like this, raw, real, not sponsored by anyone with a token to sell, then yes, hit the like button. It tells the algorithm that honesty still has an audience. Leave a comment. Tell me if you've ever trusted someone online and paid the price. Tell me what you think about Shark, about blame, about forgiveness. Tell me if you'd ever put your money in a project because someone charismatic told you to. Subscribe to the channel, not because I'm going to give you the next 100 times gem, but because I'm going to keep telling stories that might stop you from losing everything chasing one. And if you share this, maybe someone somewhere will see one flashy, sure thing on their feed. And remember, a woman in a small kitchen talking about how fast money turned her husband into a ghost and her life into a crime scene. Maybe they'll think twice. Maybe that's how we really win together. Not by betting everything on a stranger's coin, but by learning from each other's scars. Thank you for listening to mine. I'm Lynn. I was married to Shark Binh. He made $900 million overnight and ended up in a Vietnamese prison. I ended up here with you, still standing, still honest, still free.